years in one day, you lucky people. So I mentioned at the end of my last video that I was going to be showing you something pretty cool in this next one. And so these are actually officially the oldest comic books that I own. Although whether you actually call these comic books, I don't know, because they are technically, from my research, referred to as boys' story papers. But anyway, I shall show you what they are. And I've got quite a few of them. So we have here the Rover, number 1164 from 1947. But yeah, 1940s. We then have the Rover, number 1163, again from 1947. There were a lot more of these. These were all packaged up into one package together, and there were a lot more of them than I thought, because I thought they were thicker. But no, actually, these are quite thin. We then have the Rover, number 1162, again from 1947. I must point it out because I do have some of the. A few of these come from 52, I think. We'll find out when we get there. Careful, Jamie. This is. Oh, actually, I picked up two there by mistake. This is the Rover, number 1165 from 1947. This is, again, I picked up two. They're so thin, it's so easy to do that. This is the Rover, number 1166 from 1947. So I've got a friend called Kate, and when she finds out that I've got some books from 1947, she's going to go mental. She's going to be, yeah, she's going to be like, don't touch them. The Rover, number 1167 from May 1947. So remember when I told her that I showed her actually showed them off my last video, I think. Some DC no cover, not my last video, the one before. DC comic books had no cover on from the 1960s, and she was like, don't take those out, they could be worth thousands. Not in this condition. Not in that condition, love. Not in that condition, they certainly weren't worth thousands. Well, they didn't have their covers on. These are so thin. Right, here we go. The Rover, number 1168 from 1947, and these cost tuppence, it would have been back then. Oh, that's a Michael Chase on time. Our coin collection. Oh, moving on. Comic books, Jamie. There you go. Now this next one I've got to be a little bit careful with, because unfortunately the front cover is somewhat detached. This is the Rover, number 1169 from 1947. I mean, you can understand the cover being detached. It's from the 1940s, for crying out loud. There you go. Proof. So, yeah. Even now it says on top of this one, the paper boys rave about. The Rover, number 1173 from 1947. Apparently it's the paper boys rave about. I do love these covers, by the way. There isn't actually, I actually avoided these for a little while in my LCS because they said them text only, and I'm like, what's the point of text only? And then I realised, oh wait a minute, yes, it's going to be text only, excuse me, but they're going to be stories I can sit and read. So I thought, and also 1940s, come on, who doesn't want to own books, you know, books like this in their collection from the 1940s? So the Rover, number 1174 from 1947. I believe this is now slightly bigger. It is, it's grown slightly. Oh, that's interesting, they actually grew. So we're 2 years removed from these ones. These are from these next ones I think are from 1949. Actually, I've only got this one from 1949, but apparently by 1949 it had grown. This is the Rover, number 1268. From 1949. Alf Tupper, your favourite athlete, is inside. There you go. Again, little bits of issue here and there, but it is from 1949, so you know I can't complain about that. It's readable. And then we have, I think all of these last ones are from 1952. To Bridge Time, it's still, as you can see on the inside, mainly text only with a few pictures. It's a kind of strip style thing there. But, however, by this time, the back, if I can show you the back of a regular Rover, that's what it looked like, from the 1940s. Now, then in the 1950s, the back page, this was delighted when I saw it, actually became a comic book. Sorry, this is the Rover number 1389 from 1952. By which time, the back page had actually become a kind of comic strip with dialogue boxes and everything, which is incredible. So yeah, it kind of became more of a comic book on the back. So yeah, I'm really happy to own this. I think I've got one where I have a duplicate, but I'm not getting rid of it because there could be some value in it, and I wouldn't know exactly how to price it. The Rover number 1390, again from 1952. And again, just like all the 1952 Rovers, it has a comic strip on the back. The Rover, I didn't look this up actually, the Rover ran from 1922 to 1973. That's some 3,000 odd issues. So, yeah. The Rover number 1391 from 1952. And there is your back page comic strip. That was clever, because by the 1950s the comic book culture was booming, and so for the Rover to sort of adapt to the time, publishing an actual kind of comic strip on the back page was very clever. The publishers, whoever the publishers were. But, you know, that's one thing I didn't look up, was who published the Rover. If anyone knows, do tell me in the comments down below. The Rover number 1392, again from 1952, and by this time it had gone up to threepence. Or threepence, sorry, not threepence, threepence. I'm sure I actually have an old coin collection somewhere, actually, over in that corner of the room, and it has, I realise a threepenny bit in it somewhere. Anyway, so that's number 1392, and of course, gosh, well, I like these comic strips actually in the Rover, which surprised me from the 1940s and 50s. In a paper like this, anyway, they're all in colour. All these little comic strips, so I love that. I also love the covers of these, they're brilliant. The Rover number 1393, again from 1952. I do love these covers, I think they're brilliant. So if I'd been a boy, if I'd been a kid, do you know what the funny thing is? My granddad Tom was born in the 1940s. He was actually born in 1940. So he may have ended up collecting this as a young boy. I don't know. If he did, well, if he did, he certainly hasn't got a collection anymore. I'd love to say, oh yeah, my granddad collected these and these are all my granddad's collection. No, I've got these in my LCS. I dare say if my granddad did have a collection of these, I'd have begged him to leave them to me. But in his will, shouldn't say that, but I would have done. But, you know, so he may have collected this as a boy. Who knows? But if he did, as I say, his collection is probably long gone by now. The Rover number 1394 from 1952. Oh, did I show you the comic strip on the back of that one? I don't think I did. Sorry. There's your comic strip. I think a lot of things were adapting back then, you know, quick, put a comic strip in. So the Rover number 1394 from 1952. I'm actually really glad I picked these up in the end, because they weren't moving in my LCS, and if I hadn't picked them up, I think somebody else would probably eventually snap them up. There's the comic strip on the back. I've got that old comic book smell to them as well, which is nice. It's one of the other things I love about old. That's why I'd mainly do the books from the 70s, 80s and 90s, because they've got that old kind of warm, comforting smell to them. You know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean. The Rover, oh dear, the corner of this one is just, it's not even folded in, it's completely missing, but never mind. The Rover number 1395 from 1952. And you can see what I mean there about the corner. But I'm going to affect it because that won't eat into any of the story or anything, I don't think. Let me just have a look. serious chipping on this. God, I'm trying to be so careful. It's one force move and it's Bye Bye Rover. No, it's not into the stories or anything. And of course, your comic strip on the back. And again, doesn't even get into the panel, so that's not enough damage to. I mean, obviously that would, if you're trying to sell the song, that would decrease the value, but I'm not trying to sell it on. This is remaining in my PC till the very end. It's going to remain in my PC until I say otherwise, which is basically forever. So, yep. Again, I love these covers. 1940s artwork, I love it. Again, so that's what I was saying. It's like, yeah, that warm comforting smell to some cities in 90s books. Oh, careful, Jamie. The Rover number 1397, again from 1952. Still threatens. There it is. I love these covers. What's this one say here? These school badges appear on caps and blazers of Rover readers. There you go. One of those could have been my granddad's school. Who knows? Oh, no. 1952. All the comic strips up to this point were in colour, weren't they? All the previous ones, all the previous comic strips you just saw, the back of these were in colour. And yet by April of 1952, they reverted back to black and white. But at least the comic strip is still there. That's the main point. We now have the Rover number 1398 from 1952. And there's your comic strip. And what I looked at this paper is that this wasn't a newspaper. This was a boys' story paper. The Wonder Man begins inside. That's a new cricket story. Also, another opportunity for you to win a football and football boots. That's what all the kids back in the 1950s wanted. There we go. We then have... This is the Rover number 1399 from 1952. Still at threepence. More flags of the United Nations. Second set for you to cut out and keep. Well, I'm so glad that. Actually, that brings up an issue to me. I'll explain that in a minute. I'll show you the comic strip. You can pause and try to read that if you like. Good luck. The thing is, there's no series cut and keep. One of the issues of Doctor Who Weekly I've got. Someone has actually, the person who owned them before me, obviously, has actually cut out on the inside of one of them. Thankfully, it hasn't impacted onto a comic strip or anything. I think it's just an advert on the other side, which was kind of lucky. There's a unit club you could join. But you had to cut out 2 coupons, and luckily for me, I managed to pick up a copy of Doctor Who Weekly, where someone's actually cut out the coupon. But at least it's not the front cover, and at least it doesn't cut into anything important. So, yeah. The Rover number 1400 from 1952. Are you saving up school badges? Another 19 for your collection. I'm so glad I managed to get copies of these when no one, because you can pay $1, there were copies of these. There's a copy of these where people have cut out the front covers. And also you can pay $1, but before doing this video I actually went through every single one of these books just to make sure I wasn't being duped or anything, and I looked anywhere on these where it might say that it's a facsimile or some other thing, but no, these are the real deal. So I'm just glad I got copies of these when no one had thought to cut out all the stuff on the front. And of course, as I'm now familiar, comic strip, which has reverted to black and white, and I don't know why they decided to revert back to black and white, but there you go. Here comes the duplicate, I believe. Yep. The Rover number 140. Now, it's actually a good thing I got a duplicate of this, because one is in slightly better condition than the other. Number 1401. There we go. From 1952. And then the back. which is the comic strip, obviously. However, I've actually got another copy of this one, just here now. Remember this big, just keep that big stain across the top in mind, which really is there. It's not shadow or anything on my camera, that big stain really is there. Well, luckily, this collection actually has within it 2 copies of the Rover number 1401. They're exactly identical to each other in every possible way, except for the big stain at the top. It's actually a nice clean copy of the Rover 1401 from 1952, which would have cost you threepence. That's just on the top there every Thursday. And the comic strip. The fact that they started the comic strips in colour and then disbanded that and took them back into black and white. Anyway, a few more to go. The Rover number 1402, again from 1952. Regimental badges of the British Army. Cut them out and save them up. More will appear later. I'm so glad whoever owned this didn't do that. I'm amazed that actually that any copies of these have survived with the front covers still intact, because normally people will just cut those out and keep them. So yeah, there's the comic strip, which again is now in black and white. We then have, again, one I've got to be very careful with because it is slightly ripped, the Rover number 1403 from 1952. Price, again, is threepence. There it is. Again, you can see that rip I'm talking about. So I'm trying to be ever so careful with this one. And then the comic strip on the back. I may end up at some point quitting the cardinal sin of flapping that back over so all the words are on the inside if I can. Like that. And then taping that so that it, you know, yeah. Anyway, we now have the Rover number 1404 from 1952. Still will cost you threepence. There it is. So the fact that some of these are in slightly, lesser condition doesn't really bother me, because they are from the 1940s and 50s, so they are going to be, some of them are going to be a bit, some of them are going to be a little bit, not the best. There's the comic strip. The Rover number 1405, again from 1952. And this one says on the front, again, another one that's slightly ripped, so I'm being very careful. Do you attend any of these schools whose badges are shown here? Attend any schools whose badges are shown here? Again, my granddad's school could be in amongst those badges. I'm assuming the 89 PGR on the front cover is who this was supposed to be sent to originally. And then I have these, which are actually in bags, which is making it possible for us to see the back. So, however, the bags are open. And now the trick is to get this out very, very carefully. I might keep those bags for something else, actually. I'm going to put these back in loose. So this is the Rover number 1396. That's odd. Oh, we've gone back to bloody March. No wonder why. 1396 from March 1962. No, 1952. Still threepence. Oh. Ah. Okay. So what's this one say on the front? Every aircraft has a telltale tail. You can tell at a glance which country an aircraft comes from. The left-hand identification mark, and the in each instance is on the wings, and the right-hand mark is on the fuselage and tail. It doesn't say cut out and keep. Something interesting is this is an early 1952 Rover, and it's actually pre comic strip. There's no comic strip on the back. That's interesting. And then this one is again in a baggie, and this is from 1952 as well. This is June. So this is 1406 from June 1962 or 1952. So which means it does actually have a comic strip on the back, which is good. Again, I might give those bags for something else. This one says here, Squadron Badges of the Royal Air Force. More will appear later. Cut them out and keep them till you have the whole set. I'm so glad that I managed to get my hands on a copy where someone hasn't done that. Again, this is the Rover number 1406 from June of 1952. So that is the Rover. Those are the oldest books I own. The oldest legitimate books that I own. I hope you enjoyed that. Keep your eyes out and keep your eyes open for more videos from me coming soon. Because I do keep collecting comic books. I'm going to be, I believe now, basically decided now I'm going to be visiting my LCS about once every 2 weeks or so, or no, once every week. With an exception for the next couple of weeks because I've already been 2 days this week. So, yes, so that's that. And so each time I go to my LCS, there will be a new video. Of course, there's still many new videos I could do because I've still got many new books I haven't even shown you yet. But it would be impossible to do it all in one day. Completely impossible. So, for now, this is me signing off, saying peace out, and see you in the next video.